A lot of this is sparking a lot of civil unrest at the moment. We've seen how you can't rely on the police, for example. So one of the things that's going to be becoming abundantly clear as we start making our way towards this era now of more and more civil unrest, because make no mistake, it's coming. It'll show you can't rely on the police, ladies and gentlemen. You can't rely on the police whatsoever. This is a video that came out on X today, and it shows here, again, we've covered police incompetence time and time and time again, right, on this show, that in London there was 5 undercover cops that surround the car with batons, with weapons, and they start cautioning the guy as he gets out of the car. I'm not sure what he's been pulled over for. They start cautioning the hell out of the guy, and he still escapes. The guy still escapes. There's 5 undercover police officers here surrounding this car, trying to take this guy into custody. They fail, and the guy gets away from 5 of them. This is why, ladies and gentlemen, prime examples after prime examples after prime examples. We covered before, one of the clips that came out on the last show or the show before was the coppers down on a beachfront, and the copper ended up spraying his colleague in the face with pepper spray. And then she was obviously out of commission. Obviously she shouldn't have been down there doing the job anyway. But then she's stuck here potentially with a violent criminal right in front of her. She's stuck doing all this stuff because she can't see, right? So it just goes to show again, you can take a little bit of a schadenfreude, if you will, when these cops end up getting the same treatment that they so eagerly inflict on their fellow countrymen, because a lot of these people have the bent, right? You know, the bent to be evil when they're given this element of power, right? When they're given as much power and authority as they are, they're destined to misuse it. But here are these 5 absolute bungling idiots failing to take what could be, a violent criminal, could be a hit and run with a car, could be all manner of things. He gets away. Well, at least temporarily anyway.
Wow.
So you saw there, they were running after him, right? I just want to pull this back up on screen, ladies and gentlemen, as he's running away. I'm sorry, obviously none of them can catch him, which is obviously a big point, number one. But look on screen now, as I bring it back up on screen for you, this bungling idiot running past as if he's on the Benny Hill show. This guy in front, he's in the front, he's closest to us now. There you go, you can see him there. He's running with his... He's running like this. You know, looking pie up in the sky, pretty much. Sorry, do you see sprinters running like that? No, obviously not. And granted, they're in civilian clothes, obviously. It might not be the most comfortable, or it's not athletic attire, right? Granted. But at the end of the day, you don't run... Optics aren't great. Are they? Optics aren't great. And God help us, again, knowing these guys, they'll turn into like Shaolin monks, martial arts masters when it comes down to cracking down the supposed far right, right? But we did actually see some of this recently where at the event that was held in, this is new footage that just come out today, at the event that was held in Australia recently where Thomas Sowell from the Nationalist Socialist Network went in and gave his speech, right? I'm not sure if this is before or after or whatever it is. Antifa actually tried to ambush them as they were on their way. So I've found this a little bit corny, not going to lie, but I'm going to play you the footage now from before they even went and accosted Antifa on a big bridge, right? And a big brawl broke out. This goes to show when the shit is going to hit the fan, you ain't going to be able to trust police, and it's going to be the people that are at your side. And in many instances, you want people kind of like this for their toughness and that they're going to stand shoulder to shoulder with you and fight for their people and fight for their land, right? Whether you agree with their ideology, right? I'm not saying I do. Whether you agree with their ideology or anything like that, certainly, you know, would agree that I would rather have these people stood by me in a fight versus the police. Make no mistake about it. If I was going up against a bunch of Antifa and they wanted to come and do heinous things to me, if there was... You know, for the things that I've said about Islam, for example, if a gang of Muslims turned up at my door, wanted to do me harm, or wanted to do my, you know, my girlfriend or whoever harm, right? I'd want these guys by my side, not the police. right? And I say that as somebody that doesn't necessarily agree with their ideology or anything like that, doesn't endorse it or anything like that. But I'd want these guys by my side, not the police.
We're going to go down in a blob. We're going to head down this road here, cross over the bridge, and get the Fed Square. From there, we're going to be there for about probably an hour, waiting for the whole public to come. Now, obviously, there's Antifa that potentially going to try to ambush us on the way in. I don't think you're going to do shit. I think there's like 20 of them. The goal is to get the Parliament House, to get the speakers and podiums set up, and then we're going to run through some of the speakers today, and I'll finish off the speeches at the end of the day. Okay? Understood? Let's go.
So that bit, ladies and gentlemen, is where they're actually walking to the place. Now, I thought this was kind of, I'm not insulting them or anything like that. I thought it was a little bit cringy because it sounds like the guys on the instruments, the guys on the drums don't exactly know what they're doing that much. And I'm speaking as somebody that has little bits of drum experience, right? I got to grade 6. If you're familiar with gradings in music in the UK, I got to grade 6, right? So technical skills not exactly great, but I can play a beat, right? I can play a beat. I haven't played in a long time. But trying to use things like where they're trying to seemingly do flams. A flam is, by the way, when you do drums and one stick hits on the snare, one stick hits just before the other one, and it makes that distinctive blah sound. That's a flam. You hear the double stroke rolls, random cues, etc., all going on. It seems as though they just don't really have that much experience in what they're doing, and they're trying to do something which, you know, I think it might have been better if they just marched with the flags and not had the drums. But anyway, here's the bit now, and I'm going to play this bit on mute. You'll have the subtitles on because there's music in the background. There's music in the background of this bit when the brawl actually starts. So I'm hoping that, maybe we'll see. Might leave the music on, might leave it off. We'll see. I don't want the video to get taken down from YouTube, obviously. That's the thing. But here is the point where Antifa actually accosts them, and you can actually see who ends up getting the better of the exchange in this massive brawl on this bridge somewhere in Australia. Stop. There we go. That'll do it. So I'll put it on mute now because this is where the music is in, and boom, the fight's on. The scrap's on, and it is thing. But look at down in the bottom left, you can see Sewell there, the leader, not afraid to throw his punches, and quite clearly knows a little bit about what he's doing. There's where they're kicking the shit out of the guy on the ground. Not exactly the most honourable, but at the end of the day, in a big scrap like this, what are you going to do? And you've got to take care of yourselves, and they start looking like they're going to bayonet him with the flags by you. This is more the unrest you're going to be seeing. This is not good. Obviously. You don't want big scraps, big fights like this between groups. You don't want people getting hurt. These are people's sons, nephews, brothers, potentially even their fellow Australians being whipped up against each other. This is exactly what the elites want. This is the thing. This is exactly what the elites want. But they actually do end up pushing Antifa out of the way, so it was effective. What they did was very effective, right? They go off chanting Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi as well. It was effective because they got Antifa to move out of the way, and obviously then they were able to go about their business. But you're probably going to start seeing more and more of this. The more the government starts trying to push digital ID, the more the government starts trying to push the ethnic replacement, all of these things, this is going to be seeing more and more and more. Because people are going to be realizing they've run out of options. And what are most people going to do when they see that they're going to be a slave in a communist system, right? And their towns will get taken over. They'll be ethnically replaced. Their daughters will be basically meals for foreigners, right? Meals on wheels for foreigners, essentially. Pardon me. Or they've got a choice of maybe signing up with these guys. And at least then that won't happen. In many ways, their family will be a lot safer and they'll be a lot better off. Even if it might not be something which they want to do. Maybe if you could argue that it's immoral or whatever. You can make all these arguments, but in this people's survival you're talking about. This is survival, and that's why how dangerous it is that the government have inflicted what they have on us. And why we do need to be united, and hopefully we can find a solution to these problems that is peaceful, that obviously doesn't involve violence or anything like that, but this is how much people have been whipped up into frenzies against each other. This is how much the government who's working for the globalist interests have divided us. have divided us, and they've done that in many instances by dividing society, by bringing in a bunch of people who are not of our people, who are not of the native peoples of the UK, who are going to then be more easily divided along their more ethnic sectarian lines. This is how it all plays in together. And it is sad. It is sad because you don't want to end up with things like this. Some of these guys, they were going into this, they were eager for a punch up, right? They were eager for a scrap, right? Obviously, because they see it, they're socking it to the enemy, right? And in some ways they are. In some ways they are, because Antifa have put themselves as opposite them, and they've put themselves as opposite Antifa. They're enemies, right? They understand what's going on. They understand the what's at stake, if you will. And they understand they're on opposite sides. We can imagine how much more of a threat to the establishment they'd be if they all united together. That's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing. If you enjoyed that clip, then make sure to go on over to the Voice of the Valleys X page at VOT_Valleys on X. We're also on Instagram at Voice of the Valleys. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, comment, all of that good stuff. Thank you so much, and we'll see you again soon. Godspeed.